Welcome everyone to my chess stream here on Twitch and lichess.org. International Master William Paschall from Budapest, Hungary. We're streaming at the moment. We're going to be playing some blitz and classical chess. You can challenge me to a game if you want. Anything between 5+3, that's the fastest time control I'm going to play, to as long as 8+3. You can challenge me to 5+3. Maybe increments as big as 5, so 5-5, 6-5, 7-5. I think that 8-3 though is a game that can last 20 minutes, something like 8+3. So it could theoretically last 20 minutes. That's the longest time control we're gonna play against viewers here. We have challenges from some of our regulars: Ananas, Aldisto, and Ayeste. We need more of my American time players to be showing up here. I was streaming from North America over the last 2 months before I moved back here to Hungary, and we've got a bunch of subscribers from the New World, but nobody seems to be able to get off from work to watch the stream, unfortunately. We've got a 6-hour difference between here and New York. It's pretty significant. Anyway, I'm going to hang out with you European guys. It's Ananas, Aldisto, Ayeste. Let's get started with some games. I haven't played it all this morning. It's still pretty early, but I did wake up on time. My jet lag is still there, but it's kind of fading away. So hopefully by this time, a few days from now, it'll be completely gone. I did wake up, with plenty of time. Ananas, he's such a tough kind of Catalan player. It it makes me want to play something different sometimes, but he's really good against knight f6, c4, e6, g3, or he's really good in that kind of position. I'm thinking, what else can I play, basically? We play the modern defense move order against him. Let's think of something interesting. My opening repertoire is not that wide. I mean, I could play something I don't know, like the Dutch defense, but... What's up, guys? Let me know you're alive in the chat. Let me know I'm not alone. Hurricane Irma is going to hit the United States pretty soon. Kind of watching the news for that. And in chess news, the World Cup is going on in Tbilisi, Georgia. Alright. Now, this is one way I can try to exploit Ananas's move order maybe a little bit. He likes to play the King's Indian without, fianchetto without knight f3 early. Therefore, he has to be careful about his move order. Therefore, we can play some stuff that might, not be to the liking of other players. Most fianchetto type players would probably play something like knight f3 on move 3. Whereas Ananas is playing knight c3 here, so that's something we can try to take advantage of with our Gingy Indian. The man himself. I haven't seen Roman in like 20 years. Almost 20 years anyway. So, B takes C, F5. What's up, Protagon? You guys want to see the Gingy Indian? I'm not really how do you call it, an authority on this defense, but Roman and I did spend some time on it. I have some other friends who played this opening even before I knew Roman Gingiashvili. They called it the Hergot. There's an international master from Canada named Dean Hergot. He was playing this since way back in the late 80s. 92. Seems logical to me. I mean, there's many modern defense lines where you like play e4 and then try to regroup that pawn. I've never faced this before. It seems pretty logical. I mean, the e4 gambit is known to me, but I've never seen this particular move. I'm sure Roman would know what to do. I've got very bad Really bad allergies, guys, so please bear with me. Alright. Queen A5 is a common theme. But, you know, in some cases it might, you know, help him by taking this pawn on C3 to open up his bishops a little bit. I've got to be careful about just recklessly grabbing pawns. If I were to just develop my pieces, I guess D6 is the move here. But it might not hurt to throw in Queen A5. It's a developing move of sorts. In general, I don't really like castling kingside in this opening. Alright. Talking to myself. Dilyavatra, good morning from cold Hanover. Is it just tiebreaks today in the World Cup? I would think so. Just wanted to tell you the new timetable does not fit in my work schedule. I'll see how it works out in the next month or so. Nefedov, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. We've got 2 different times, mornings and evenings. Bishop G5 now. I'm thinking about Bishop F5, of course, just to protect this pawn. Or shall I just give it back and develop with Knight D7? If you play the Nimzo Indian, this might remind you of like the Leningrad Nimzo. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Bishop F5. If I don't play Bishop F5, it's gonna be a while before I can play it. And if I do play Bishop F5, this pawn is gonna be a problem. I mean, overall, Bishop F5 is an unusual move in this kind of structure. I guess I should probably ask myself this question: what I'm gonna do if I go like Bishop F5 and he plays something like Rook B1? How do I intend to defend that pawn on B7? But let's say like Knight D7, Bishop E2, Knight E5. Bishop takes F6, pawn takes F6, Knight takes E4. I wonder if my knight is better on B6, covering the B file, and Could even play King D8, King C7 in this position. Just thinking of as an alternative way of developing. Artificially castling. I wasted a lot of time here. Nefedov says it's 9 a.m. here in England. I would be in the office. Right. This is my holiday, 6 p.m. I'm on the tube. Okay. Traveling back home. Well, I mean, you raise an interesting question. You know, that maybe tweaking the time by an hour would be better. I mean, in general, giving people who work like a little extra time. Okay, this looks dangerous for white. Bishop F5 or Rook E8. I don't know, guys. Speculative king sack. is watching. So Nefedov, you raised an interesting point that maybe we could change the time by, you know, like an hour on the evening streams. That wouldn't really matter for my American viewers. It doesn't really make a difference to them, you know, if it's 1 in the afternoon or noon. But most likely, nah. Looks like Ananas is just losing a piece here. All right. Yeah, maybe that's an interesting point. So we'll think about that going forward. Changing the schedule to like 7. I did 6:30 yesterday, Nefedov. I don't know if you realized. If you were here, you were probably here. Can't remember off the top of my head, but King is safe. We're up a piece. Ananas has yet to wake up as well this morning. Fischer. Do you think Fischer played online games in 2000 with... yeah, I mean, Nigel claimed he did, but, you know, it could have easily been someone trolling him. I mean, you know, I mean, Fischer would be a better judge as to whether he played Bobby Fischer than I would, but, I mean, it's not like, you know, he was personal friends with Bobby like he would know for sure. I mean, I think maybe Kasparov claimed that too. I'm not sure. But obviously this would be like one of the favorite trolls that a player might do, you know. Basically pretending to be Bobby Fischer in the 90s online. A pretty common way to troll some online grandmaster, I would guess. Okay, so Ananas, let me check this out. This is a known idea, 92. Not really well known, but it seems reasonable to me. I mean, there's only 3 games or 2 games in the database here. The engine, it actually suggests 92 is the second best move. I see a lot of H4 type of stuff. You know, and of course F3 is one of the first things that Roman and I worked on. You know, this is very, very common. But there are many ways for white to handle this system. 92 is interesting. Knight F6. Nobody played Knight F6? That's funny. I mean, it's the most natural move. D6, Knight G3. Okay, we transposed to some game from 2003. BG5. Maybe BG5, you know, isn't really the right move. Just developed a king side. I don't know. Wow, the computer just hates King D8 when I played it, but then it starts to realize, oh, maybe that's not so bad. You violated your right to castle. The engine's like, no, you can't do that. And then it's like, well, alright, maybe it's not so bad. It's dropping like a rock now to 0.5. My disadvantage is back to kind of where it was a minute ago, before I played King D8. Anyway, I'm not going to analyze the whole game, but, you know, probably this is chances for both sides. Wow, this is actually okay. You have to play King D2 here. I mean, this, again, you know, reminds me of the Leningrad Nimzo. King D2, King C7. I was going to play Bishop F5, to be honest with you. I did not see this tactic. Knight takes D6, Bishop take. Oh my god. But fortunately, I have this move, and I can defend both my pawns just in time. But this isn't what I really had, you know, had in mind. But apparently, this is okay too. So, let's see. You think he beat short 8-0 or something like that? Well, I mean, you know, I don't think any of this has ever been, you know, proven in some way. I mean, is it? Is there some evidence that this is the case? All right. You know, I mean, would Bobby Fischer really beat Nigel Short 8-0 at that stage? It's a little hard to believe. Anyway, I mean, as great as he was, Nigel was like 2,700. I mean, would he really lose 8-0 even to Kasparov? I don't know. Again, it could have been someone trolling short. But I mean, they'd have to be an awesome player. Are you talking about in the early 2000s? I don't remember. Yeah, it was somewhere around the year 2000 or maybe in around there. Yeah, I remember this. Okay, let's continue to play here. Subscribers. I took the first game. We didn't have any subscribers challenging me. Now, Divyavatra Nefedov. We have other subscribers. Let me know, guys. Clash Kid is here. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. Just, Nigel Short couldn't handle losing 8-0 to someone else, so maybe he wanted to, only accept it if it was Bobby Fischer. Who knows? Hard to confirm to 100%. I would say it's hard to confirm to like 75%. Did Short write an article about it or something? I mean, I just remember it being kind of a gossip in the rumor mill. There was also there were other people who claimed it wasn't just Short. I mean, there were other people even prior to that incident who claimed that they played Bobby Fischer, I believe. He was supposed to play an account called like Dahlia. No, I'm thinking of Kasparov. Okay, I'm crazy now. I'm getting Kasparov mixed up with Fischer. Yeah, Fischer. Right. No, I'm thinking of Kasparov playing online now. I'm getting mixed up. Fischer, right. No, Fischer wouldn't confirm anything. Yeah, Short claimed. I'm sure there were other players, though. I mean, if Fischer did something like this, one time, almost certainly he did it more than once. But I don't think that Fischer was overly, like computer savvy. G3. When a friend of mine introduced Fischer to a guy I work with, he introduced Fischer to like chess base or something. Fischer was he was very fascinated. This was like in the very early 90s or something, but he didn't seem to have much competency like with computers. So interesting to think about it. Divyavatra, the other day I played against somebody. Oh, that's right. I played this against Grandmaster Slavko Chichak on ICC, a game I started the stream. Yeah, I think I have to play d4. I've never really studied the theory enough in this line. My teammate Zoltan Varga claims this is, white should be slightly better in this line. I don't know. I mean, I know Aronian plays black in these lines. I've seen so many top players play the double fianchetto. But myself, I only play the normal hedgehog and with bishop e7 and bishop b7. So I never really played this for black, but I've always had kind of respect for this opening. My gut instinct is that the double fianchetto is actually black's best. That's the way I feel about it. Epithetos. Got to go in the next 20 minutes. Okay, well, we'll try to get your game in there. Anyone remember Raphael on Play Chess? I never played that much on Play Chess, to be honest. That I only had, an account off and on Play Chess, and never long enough to really pay attention to the, GMs playing on there. You decided not to torture you with my f4, king f2, king f3. Fischer. You guys have to learn how to spell Fischer. Alright. d6. That's an unusual move order. Most people castle, and then I guess queen h4 is pretty standard. But if you're not castling, and I go queen h4, sometimes black can play like h6 or h5, obviously. So one would assume that I'm not supposed to play queen h4 yet, being that that's an issue. And things like, okay, the long diagonal, I have to take care with that. The d6 is interesting. I mean, I can always exchange white squared bishops. I don't really think that feels right at this stage, though. I should continue my development, but I'm out of book pretty early here. I never prepared to play this line in a real tournament situation. I don't have much prepared at all, actually, in fact. I never had an opponent in a round robin tournament or something like that where I had to play against this line for whatever reason. I never had to prepare this specific variation for white. I never had an opponent play the double fianchetto hedgehog, if you want to call it that. So over the board, we're looking at, you know, quiet moves like trading the white square bishops. That doesn't look very dangerous. Crazy game with Don't Do It last night. Well, yeah. My computer crashed at the end of the stream, guys. Sorry about that, but we had a blue screen of death. Haven't had that in a while. I probably have some memory issues with the computer, so I need to clear some space. Protagon, interesting. Ivanchuk, Topalov, Morozevich, the best. Kasparov, Carlsen, Capablanca, Alec. He was rated 3,000 in play chess along with Nakamura. When was this? Like 2005 era? I really, you know, rarely played on this site. I'm really pissed with ChessBase because I mean, I don't know, I bought like ChessBase 3 times in my life probably, and you know, they still don't have like plans where you can like sort of upgrade your ChessBase. You always have to like buy a new one or something. And I have like play chess on my computer, but when I try to sign in, it's like, you know, I forgot my password. So when I try to sign into my play chess account, you know, it says like request a new password, and I just like, you know, it doesn't work or something. But I don't care that much about it, to be honest. Knight on BD7, and again, I don't know where to put my queen here. I guess we're going to have to play B3 at some point. B3 castles, bishop B2, knight E4. That looks kind of awkward. I'll have to play queen E3 or something of that ilk. If I don't play B3, how do I, you know, take care of this long diagonal here? B3 castles, bishop B2, knight E4, queen D3. That's awkward. Queen C2. I can't say I'm in love with that. It may not be that bad though. Alright. He could even play like, well, I don't think he can play D5. But something about this, I'm a little bit scared that I'm walking into some kind of trap. Alright. I've got really bad allergies, guys. Sorry if I'm sniffling on the stream. I never had this in September before. I don't know what kind of plant I'm allergic to, but whatever it is, it's out of control here in Budapest. I live really close to the city park, and there's a lot of construction going on, and maybe they like stirred up a lot of pollen. I don't know. Yeah. Like our last game yesterday, from the stream, I played Dilyavatra's friend, who's also, I guess, from like Serbia, and this guy Don't Do It, who won the viewer tournament on Tuesday, he played a fantastic game against me where he made a beautiful move at the end. I thought it was a dead drawn ending, but he had this trick to win in the rook ending. But the best move he played, Dilyavatra, was this like in between move in the middle of the like game where he didn't recapture a piece, and you know, he played it like instantly using like 3 seconds or something. I mean, that's pretty amazing, you know. When you have to calculate something where there's like a bunch of continuations and, you know, you're sacrificing a piece voluntarily for no particular reason when you could just make a normal move. I mean, he made that move in like 3 seconds. I was stunned. I was sitting there thinking for like a minute on this move where he's not recapturing a piece I took. He just instantly like develops another rook or something. I mean, I guess you could play this on intuition, but he made virtually no mistakes. So Rafael's supposed to be Kasparov in the video versus Naka. You never know what you see on YouTube. I don't mean to be like skeptical about everything. Yeah, if you play the exchange Caro-Kann, I mean, it's possible he knows this line so well. He can just whip out the moves very quickly. I think his friend Rabrenovich played that line against me too, so I guess it's something that the guy teaches his students to play. Now there are discoveries, you know, obviously on the long diagonal, but I don't really have time to react to them. I think I just have to allow the discoveries at this point, which is something of a problem. Unless we had some kind of crazy exchange sacrifice. I mean, if I were to play like Queen H4, theoretically, Knight E4, Knight takes E4, Bishop takes A1, Bishop H6. It's interesting to think about. Doesn't seem to work though. I mean, I'm just like losing the exchange. Queen H4, Knight E4, Knight takes E4, Bishop takes A1. I do have Knight G5 there, but then he has like Knight F6, which seems to protect everything. If I do play Bishop B2, okay, D5 is another story. Knight E4, we're just gonna play what I plan to play, I guess. It doesn't look real dangerous for black. I wanted to make Queen H4 work here, but I'm running out of time. I'm not sure if this trick on the long diagonal is good for him. Hopefully I'm just okay here. I don't want to be worse. Yeah, Kasparov no doubt like played on every site, I'm sure. So I was looking at the World Cup results. Adams went out. You know, it's just a lot of strong players are going to get knocked out in this format. I mean, this format is not designed to necessarily be the indicator of the better player. It's designed to be fun and exciting. And that's what you got. You got a lot of upsets. Silverback Gorilla says this guy should close the stream during the game. Not? No, of course not. I mean, it's up to you. You know, I mean, you can close the stream if you want to, if it's easier for you to concentrate. I don't care. You know, there's a kind of delay, so mostly like people aren't giving people spoilers and giving them moves. All right. So I was thinking about Queen E3, but the problem with that move is that my B2 guy isn't protected, so he could kind of do whatever he wants. Though he may not have a great move in that position. I'd be a little concerned about Knight F6 threatening like Knight G4. A Queen D3, on the other hand, allows Knight C5 with tempo, and then I'm going back to C2. It does look like an awful big waste of time. But he has nothing special like Rook C8, Knight takes E4, Knight takes E4, so I think it's okay for me. I hope it's okay for me. The other way, I mean, I'm looking for, like, is there some kind of crazy tactic with Knight takes E4? You've got to watch out. I mean, Knight takes E4, Knight takes F2. There's nothing here. Hopefully we're okay. If I could trade his dark scored bishop, we weaken his king side a little bit, and maybe we're at least equal. I really need to, Nefedov said it's better to close the stream. I play mental games with you sometimes. I'll occasionally tell lies. But I have to kind of even the playing field. I'm at a slight disadvantage. And, alright, so he weakened his d6 pawn here. Big deal. But Divyavatra's position is pretty solid, and so is mine. I really need to look up the theory on this line. Not knowing the G6 hedgehog very well is not good. It's a pretty main line. I mean, it might even be more popular than E6 type of hedgehogs. The hedgehog is this pawn formation. If you don't know, where you're putting a lot of pawns on the 6th rank. Not to be confused with the hippopotamus, which is something else. Okay, well, you know, it's probably about equal. I want to play rook d2, but it honestly looks kind of lame. We'll try something else. Yeah, I mean, I think this is fully equal for black. He has some weaknesses around his king. That could be a problem in some scenarios, but objectively, black is okay here. He's fast, faster than me. The World Cup starts at 1. It could be. It sounds about right. Wow, nice move. Trying to induce some weaknesses in the black position. I mean, I could play h4, h5. Subtle threat. He doesn't seem to care. All right. I didn't think this was even possible. So queen takes h7 check or just f3. Well, I should play this first and then trap his bishop next move. There's also crazy stuff, but we have to play here. You know, fortunately he can't play like king e7 or something. Now there's this move. You got to admit that looks pretty nasty. But man. But oh my god, no. Oh my god, I forgot your queen was protected. Alright, let's not panic. We're not going to panic. Oh no, a blunder. Blunder! I won't say profanity, but there was this Russian guy in the park in the cafe in Boston. He used to have a special saying for this kind of situation. Oh man. I knew that something would go wrong here. I thought, oh, this is just too simple, you know? I thought it was just too simple. We have 2 pawns for a piece. I'm not really in the mood to trade queens. This is really frustrating construction going on in my building, which I really didn't need this morning. Obviously black is winning here. Yesterday they weren't constructing anything. Just since today. They're like right above my head. Vivacha, what are you doing? No checks. He sees everything. Oh, God. Alright, man. Good game. Good game. I've got excuses. There's this construction going on above my head. So, it was a fun game. What is going on with my connection here? Something with lichess? Is lichess going down again? Well, it looks like not. Man, when did these guys start constructing here? It wasn't happening before. Alright, let's see what we got here for theory. D6 is actually main line, and I should know that, but... Alright, rook D1. B3 is the second main move, apparently. Knight E4 not all that popular. So Queen E3 is the main move for white. Elianov Karyakin, 2013. Burmakin played my move. Burr on ICC. But I just have a good position here. I had B4. Apparently that's strong. Alright, let's just see if I was winning. Yeah. What did I do wrong here? Knight takes H7, threatening mate in 1. Doesn't work. Alright, so here I just simply had a hallucination. I had to get fancy, you know. Instead of just recapturing on F3, I have to play Rook F1, and this actually works. Alright. Now, I hallucinated. I thought that his queen was only protected once, and I gave him the game. Alright, man. I'm just too slow tactically. He's double protected. I thought I was just winning by force, but I forgot his bishop is still on the board protecting B7. Alright. Lucky escape there, buddy. Ayeste, wait, we've got first Nefedov. Nefedov he left. Nefedov, did you leave? It's better to close the game. Where did Nefedov go? He was just here a minute ago. Why are they banging on the roof upstairs? This is totally unexpected. You sent me a rematch. Did I send you a rematch? I didn't mean to do that. He had to go. Oh yeah, you had to go. Are you coming back, or are you gone? Nefedov, I was about to accept your challenge. Does that mean you're still here, or you're in the process of leaving? Let me know, because if you want to play, I mean, you can challenge me now, and I'll play you, because that was my plan. But if you have to go, you have to go. When you have to go, you have to go. International Master William Paschall, guys. Please subscribe to the stream, and no need for Fischer torching. Fischer. Why is Fischer in everyone's mind today? We've got Ayeste, Epitetos, Trouts, Clash Kid, and King Wiki. Which of you guys are subscribers? King Wiki says when he can't kick you under the table, he can psych you out over the stream. King Wiki's been talking to Milo Riverby. Alright. No worries. Continue to stream. Good luck, everyone. So, I guess Clash Kid is our next subscriber. There was this guy I know, Milo Riverby. He's a master from, like, New York City and Rhode Island. And there was this, like, last round game in the World Open where, you know, basically his, like, Doc Martens were under my chair, you know. So, apparently kicking his Doc Martens under my chair was enough to incite him to write notes about me on like, what was it, chessgames.com or something. I mean, you know, it's one thing if you kick someone's feet you know, under the table, but when your feet are under their chair, like across the table under their chair, I think it's not unusual for them to kick your feet, you know. All right, d4. Let's play, you know, expect to get your feet kicked if you put them under the opponent's chair. That's what I figured. But in some cases, like Boris Kryman, Alexander Volokitin, you know, these guys were just like, you know, 5 feet tall and had their feet under my chair. Bishop f5. Wow. This is... We had bishop g4 the other day, I think. We had this the other day, too. Yeah, these are interesting, these lines. With bishop f5, you're basically playing like it's a normal Grunfeld. Yeah, I saw a few of these, and it looks playable for black. I always thought it would be over the top to develop the bishop here in a reverse Grunfeld scenario. I mean, the best move is probably e6, transposing to a Catalan. But you can also play c takes d and e5. Anand has proven that you can play a reverse modern exchange variation for black. You heard me tell the story before. I wasn't sure I told the one about Reverby, though. The Reverby started, like, you know, accusing me of doing something wrong, but, I mean, it was just because, like, he was tense because it was, like, a last round game, and we were playing for, like, $700 or something. There was an under 2,400 prize, like, for me, and I think he was playing for some class prize, too. Maybe under 2,300 or something, I don't know. And okay, everybody's like nervous in the last round when there's money in a tournament. But I don't really think I did anything wrong. I mean, maybe I kicked his feet out from under my chair at the worst, but they didn't belong there in the first place. When you give someone a dirty look like 5 times and they still don't move their feet from under your chair, you know, you got to take some other kind of steps to eject them. If it was like a closed international tournament, I would have called the arbiter. What's my highest score on lichess? 25 something. I don't think I've been over 26. I lost some blitz points recently. Now we're basically playing a Tarash where he's like on bishop f5. That's pretty weird. I mean, the bishop doesn't do anything to secure this isolated pawn, so this really should be good for white. I have an idea. It's not always a good sign, though. The question is what he's going to do here. I have to see what he's going to do. I mean, I had other moves, too. I could have played, like, bishop g5. I mean, this is something to seriously consider. See you later, Deviavatra. It's going to be a long walk, man. Yeah, if you listen to me too long, you hear the same stories over and over again. Just imagine when I get old. I need some more adventures, and I need to create some new stories. But the perennial favorite of kicking feet under the table. I like it when people do annoying things at the board, like eating submarine sandwiches, kicking your feet under the board, staring at you. What else? What's your most annoying, what's the most annoying thing that people did? I saw this guy like post on lichess this morning in the forum, like, is it okay if I wear a baseball hat to the board? That's like really, polite of him to ask. I mean, it's not like there's any kind of rule about what kind of clothing you can wear. I think that like Pal Benko wore he wore sunglasses when he played with Mikhail Tal because he thought he thought Tal has this like hypnotic gaze or whatever, Knight e4. Not developing the pieces. Not developing the pieces. There has to be something wrong with this. This is very important, guys. When you play the opening and your opponent violates some kind of fundamental principle, it's important that you kind of talk to yourself and say, okay, what's going on here? This guy is now not developing his pieces in an open position. Tarash is very open. Ask yourself what is he doing? What's wrong with the move, and how can I exploit it? Not developing his pieces. He's taking defense away from d5. It's not easy to see like what the refutation to this is. I mean, my temptation is to like take here, but he just takes knight takes c3 and then he should be fine. I mean, even there I might have some small advantage after like d takes c, knight takes c3, b takes c, bishop takes c5, knight to d4. It seems kind of counterintuitive to help black here. I agree. But I like this variation. This looks pretty good. I mean, I didn't see a good answer for him to the line I just demonstrated. I'm basically wasting time making a non-constructive move with d takes c, but I'm opening the position more for my superior development. Never move the same piece twice in an opening more than once unless there's a good reason to. See? That's very fundamental. Okay, I thought like, well, worst case scenario, I've got probably winning this pawn in some variations. You know, you can't play like bishop d7, knight b3, and I just pick off the pawn on d5. If he takes on d4, I was looking at knight takes d4, c takes d, bishop e7. I have a wealth of moves, you know, queen b3, double attacking pawns again. This should be good for me. Maybe I have an idea for him here. It's pretty tough though. I was going to suggest bishop e4, but I mean, then it's like knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop takes e4, d takes e4, queen a4, again with a double attack. That's what he did. Or queen a4 right away. But I think I like this better. Alright, we're going to get to some situation, it looks like, where, you know, it could be kind of technical. I'm going to be up a pawn. And, you know, can I demonstrate it's enough to win or not? I mean, I don't think he can really do better than that. Maybe he can defend this, though. We shall see. He's just a little bit short in development, and, you know, if I can win a pawn, we'll have good winning chances. Although, like, you know, maybe if it's a queen and rook endgame, some kind of heavy piece endgame, being down a pawn is not always decisive. Okay, this is tricky because I wanted to play rook d1. But it's not so easy. Oh, no, he can't play queen f5. Yeah, that's the point. Okay, there's no queen f5 because your c6 pawn is hanging with check. Then my plan is to play now bishop a3, which I was looking at anyway. But this is really, really annoying for black. You know, because if he can't castle, he's probably a dead man. And, you know, the open file, these weak pawns are weaker than mine. I honestly think he should have... what should he have done? Just castle here and sack a pawn. Probably that's the right idea. Again, heavy piece ending, you may not be that bad down a pawn. Something like castles, queen takes c6, queen e7. And you're just down one pawn with me having this extra semi sort of loose pawn on c3. Yeah, now I think this has got to be winning for white. If he's not losing material, I mean, he lost his right to castle. He's got very serious issues. Rook b1, developing the final piece. I mean, I could play rook d6 first off, but then he has queen e7. This is probably more deadly, you know, threatening to go here. He has basically nothing better than like king f7, rook b7 check, king g8, when he's probably dead. All the heavy pieces in the game. Killer bird is a fish. Right, Tactical Wizard. Good call. But that's it, man. Very instructive game. We don't get to play many, you know, kind of clear games like this, but it is the most instructive, and I think this is fantastic to be able to, you know, exploit a simple mistake and demonstrate it. Usually chess is more difficult. So he played rook f8, and rook d6 was a move I was thinking about, but again, queen e7 is the issue there. We really only have rook b7, and that would be our idea to follow up, I guess. Rook b7, rook f7 is his idea. Then rook d6. Where are the weak points, you know, in this position? His king, this pawn, the 7th rank. But I still don't see a knockout blow. This rook is unprotected. That would be a weakness in itself. I guess I need to find something better. I mean, rook b7, rook f7, and I don't see a clear way to make progress. Maybe something like queen c5, closing the noose. Queen c5, rook f6, or rook f7. Queen c5, rook f6, rook b7. He's still paralyzed. It looks pretty strong. I have made one bad calculation already, where I blew the first game when I was winning because I overlooked simply the fact that one of his pieces was protected. The black queen was protected on b7, so I need to do more tactical problems. Bernstein op9, rook d7, queen c5, maybe. You mean rook d7? Yeah, queen c5 was the other idea. There, yeah, that's it. So it's a question of rook d6, queen c5. Yeah, that's what you mean. You're right. You're right, probably. Rook d6, queen c5 is a question of move order. He's just paralyzed here. Okay. And if nothing else, he's basically falling apart. The g7 pawn, losing that would be devastating. I mean, then he'd have more weaknesses in the pawn structure on h7 and f5. It looks lost. I mean, it's been lost. Probably was lost all along. The question is when and how to sacrifice a pawn. You know, he could have sacked the pawn. Probably wouldn't have been that bad. Now I have rook d6. Unfortunately, he has queen takes d6. Queen takes d6. Oh no, that works for me. This is a good thing, right? Queen c8, protecting the c6 pawn. I still don't see how to win material. Okay, I mean, I'm just taking his pawn. I mean, this is a situation where I probably have nothing fancy I can do. Yeah, nothing to do. Sometimes the simple move is best. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. On Sunday, I'm going to be doing a simul here on lichess. Sunday evening, 6:30 p.m. You know, maybe we should take Nefedov's suggestion and make the stream half an hour later. I'm going to think about making it half an hour later. I will keep you posted. Gigi Hashvili Liboyevich, 1984. I did notice, however, that like some decent players, Liboyevich, okay, he always plays crazy stuff. These are pretty risky players, Liboyevich and Manassian. Yeah, okay, so the more common move is knight c3 here, rather than c takes d5. It might be more accurate. I don't know. Doesn't really seem obvious to me. This position is possible to play in different move, like I said, bishop g5. So after knight c3, I was expecting h6. Clash Kid. The engine actually suggests your move, which was played once before. No, more than once. Nagiras played this. Nagiras played it twice. Wow. The Nagiras variation. And everybody played my move, d takes c5. But apparently knight e5 is best according to the engine. And there's other interesting moves, like queen b3 looks really interesting because you're putting pressure on d5 and b7. I bet queen b3 is really strong here. Shades of Magnus. Drea of Magnus, but it's a better version of Drea versus Magnus. Okay. Yeah, this is actually really strong, queen b3. It didn't occur to me. Similar to a game I had yesterday. I played d takes c5. Yeah, this is actually the continuation. This Shretensky beat Nagiras in 2003. Huh. So Nagiras played bishop takes d4 and lost. Well, you're in good company there, Clash Kid. The Cuban Grandmaster, he's quite strong, but he couldn't equalize. It's close though. Bishop takes d4. I guess that's the best try. You know, you don't lose material this way for sure. Nagiras played queen d7. I would assume bishop a3 and curtains. You got a castle here. I mean, clearly. You've got a castle. It's unbelievable that Nagiras played queen d7. Castles, and, you know, life isn't that bad for black. Alright. We've got any other subscribers challenging me? Bernstein, are you challenging? Protagon? A&E Bomba. Any other challengers want to play before I start accepting random regulars? Let me know if any of you guys are subscribers. I mean, I know King Wiki, Trouts, these guys are regulars, but they're not subscribers as far as I know. Kyria Kospez, Chess Armageddon. As far as I know, you guys are not subscribers. We have some subscribers watching, but they're not challenging. They're way too bad. You guys are going to progress to the point where you guys can challenge me. If there's no other challenges from the subscribers, we will go to Ayeste. So simul on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. I reserve the right to change it to 7 European time. Excuse me for a second. Something strange on the floor there. Strange things drift out of the air here and sometimes land on the floor of my office when I open the window. C6 right away. Oh, yes. I love C6 so much. It's like playing the London system constantly. That's what I get for playing knight f3 every game. The sub army sucks. Subs are weak, right? That's why they're subscribing, so they can learn something. Alright, bishop g4, c4. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We've got some strong subscribers. I guess it just takes here. Solid. Very solid for black. I guess they drew yesterday. He drew the previous game against me. This is a 5-3 game. I was encouraging people to challenge to faster time controls because we had a lot of 8-3, 8-3, 8-3, and it was getting, you know, to the point where we could only play like 6 or 7 games in a stream. So, to make a long story short, I don't mind if you guys challenge me to some faster games. I really don't love this position. I'm going to start playing other moves. I just play knight f3 when I'm kind of tired and I get lazy, but I should start playing d4 and e4 now after this game. I feel awake now. Like, normally I start off with knight f3 type of stuff when I'm not really in the zone yet. You know, I'm kind of playing on autopilot. But this is like my 3rd or 4th game, so there's no more excuses. Tactical Wizard. If I subscribe and wanted to be priority for games, simultaneous exhibitions, I have to give away my username, and I don't want that. You mean give away your username on lichess? Obviously. Well, obviously that's consideration. You could create a second account just to play, you know, just to play me, but in general I don't, you know, think people should have multiple accounts. D3. Okay, man, this is really tedious and tough, and I just hate chess right now. This opening is so freaking difficult. God. It looks like a transposition almost to a Romanician line. You know, the Ukrainian grandmaster, Oleg Romanician, he's still playing. He's got to be like 70 plus, and well, maybe he's not 70. I'm probably exaggerating. Okay, he's in his late 60s at least, but he's still playing. He's still like around like high 2400s or mid 2400s, and you know, he's a legendary theoretician. It's funny to watch him. You know, he plays the system with white pretty reliably. Now bishop c5, but this is a player who, like Kasparov, had a lot of respect for. I mean, bishop takes c5. Now the question is where to move my queen. c3, c2, or a3. I think I should defend the c pawn. And the question is queen c3, d takes c, queen takes c4. Yeah, that seems right to me. Knight a4, queen a3. Here I have to calculate. Knight a4, queen a3. Queen takes b2, queen takes a4. Oh man, maybe this isn't enough. Is this not enough? We have to be careful here for a second. It's very similar to a line I play, but I'm wondering about queen c3, and I'm afraid I might only have like a draw by repetition there. Queen c3, knight a4. If I have to play queen b3, then I've got nothing. Queen c3, knight a4, queen a3, queen takes b2. I mean, maybe I can play like queen takes b2, knight takes b2, and trap his knight or something. That's pretty interesting, actually. Can't say I've ever played this exact position before. I've played similar positions to this. It's almost... I think it is the right position, actually. I mean, this has to be a transition to a game I played in like April, in the first Saturday GM tournament. The move order was different, where black played bishop takes f3 like a move later. Queen a3, queen takes b2, queen takes b2. And, you know, a4 is like trapping his knight, it looks like. Okay. There's also queen c2. But queen a4 attacks his knight. Well, they both attack his knight directly, so does it matter? Queen c2 or queen a3? This is the kind of gambit that Romanician has all worked out in these lines. You know, all these weird traps and stuff. A nice guy. You know, if you want to subscribe, do it from your heart. Just don't feel pressured. Queen a3. You have to want it, you know. Traps incorporated. I think that I can't remember the name of my opponent from this kid, this Hungarian kid from April, but I mean I think a5. I'm pretty sure a5 is what he played, which is a standard move. a5 92, and then it's like black had a kind of solid game and it ended in a draw. You know, the thing is here, I don't see an exchange sack or something like that. I mean, sometimes you've got like vicious tactics against his pawn chain, but in this position I don't see it. Now, I don't know if Ayesta is listening to the stream or not, but my, you know, impression here is that his knight is trapped. Now, obviously, he's going to get some compensation in the form of numerous pawns. Probably 3 to be exact. Oh, the secret move. There is no good way to take this pawn. All right. He's got 3 pawns for a piece. He acted like it's just totally normal. Using only... He's got so much more time than me, it's ridiculous. Alright. Well... I hope this is not a mistake. It could be one. Probably should have just played knight c3 there. This is really, wasn't really necessary to go to this length, I guess. I've got 8 seconds left. But honestly, I think that I'm going to have to sacrifice a piece back. I could have played rook a2 there, probably should have played rook a2 there. Instead, I'm sacking piece back. But it's kind of a mess after this. Another rook on b7. We're down 2 pawns, but we have pressure. Less time, however, makes life a little complicated. That bishop on f3 sold its life for black's pawn chain. You know, it's always hard to use that. That bishop in this London system pawn chain is often pretty pathetic. Objectively, I probably should have played rook a2 and just defended my pawn on a5. But I wanted to kind of make him think. But I mean, honestly, I think black should be okay somehow. Oh. Oh no. What a good idea. Man. 2 pawns down. Oh, this was a bad move. If he hadn't played rook a3, I'd probably be a dead man right now. He's like in panic mode. Alright, he declined my draw. Now it's time for blood. We should be at least equal. I really shouldn't exchange here. All right, man. Maybe I've got a mate. Good battle. Well, I don't know. Pretty wild game. I got myself in too much time pressure. Let's see. This hasn't been reached, this position. Lev Gutman played queen c2 here. I'd be surprised if this wasn't a transposition. It's weird. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That is my game. Okay. So my game from February, I was right. I can remember my own games from 3 months ago. He has this move d4, which I forgot about. I was looking for it, but I still didn't understand how it worked now. Even after staring at it, I forgot about this trick, man. It's really cool. d4, queen takes d4. Of course, Kozak didn't see it either, but here. I don't really think that white should sacrifice this exchange in this position. I didn't actually offer a draw. I just clicked it once and it didn't go through, apparently. So anyway, the engine suggests this exchange sacrifice. I analyzed this back in April, and it doesn't really impress me. So anyway, there's an argument for queen a3 and queen c3. Maybe queen a3 is better, but my problem with queen a3 is that black can simply play d takes c4. When I'm not a huge fan of the pawn structure. There's this though, which is a problem for black, apparently. So, forgetting my own analysis, yeah, anyway, takes. There was a different move order to my game with Kozak, but we transposed to Romanishyn Maximenko. Knight a4, queen a3, and then this I never analyzed. You know, I think he should play a5 here instead of knight a4. I mean, I know the d4, okay, or d4 for that matter. Yeah. But I'm curious about this. I mean, one would assume that I analyzed this in April, but, you know, I kind of subconsciously remember it rather than consciously. And it looks like it's better for white. Computer actually likes knight takes d3 here. Knight takes d3, pawn takes d3, c takes d. This is a different way to sack for 3 pawns. I mean, a5. I would assume a6 there, but I don't know if he can hold the pawn structure together. Anyway, guys, very interesting line. Let me know if we have any other subscribers. Is anyone going to subscribe today? Tactical Wizard just threatening to subscribe. Alright. The threat is stronger than the execution, Tactical Wizard. Epithetos, Trouts, King Wiki, Chess Armageddon, and Kyria Kospez. All of you guys are faithful. Well, Chess Armageddon I think is kind of new, but the other guys are all faithful regulars, or have been in the past. You like queen c2? Well, apparently queen c3 has a problem. I forgot about d4. Having played this position only once. Honestly, I haven't been playing this system all that long for white. A couple, you know, just in the last 2 years. It's not like something I played all my life. I only started playing this ready type of stuff and King's Indian stuff really because my repertoire is kind of, you know, I've been out of practice for like 5 years or even longer. So I needed something where I didn't have to go into like really theoretical lines. I started playing knight f3 exclusively with g3. Now g3, speaking of g3, Epithetos played g3. That seems kind of a weird moment to do it. You know, okay, I mean, I can give up the bishop here, but it's not that impressive. c5 strikes one is interesting. Taking on f3 followed by knight to c6. Then what do I do after that would be the question. If I play bishop takes f3, e takes f, knight c6, bishop e3, and I don't really see a follow-up for black. Doesn't look, it doesn't really look right. Lots of choices here. I mean, c5, knight e4, bishop e4. That's an interesting possibility. Bishop e4 with the idea of knight c6 to follow. The most complicated continuation, I guess. We've got tricks. Yeah, I didn't offer the draw. Good call on that. You know, sometimes you have to like click twice to do something. Click twice to resign for sure. Banging on the roof next door. I'm very irritable. I haven't been sleeping enough due to extended jet lag. I didn't really handle the jet lag very well this year. I came back last Monday from the United States, and here we go. This is the idea. It's a lot like a Queen B3 Nimzo. There's some of these weird Queen B3 lines. So now he's defended everything, albeit like, you know, kind of artificially. We need another move. A5. The problem with A5, it would take away Ignite A5, which is obviously a key idea here. So looking at Queen E7. And again, Queen E7 is, it's looking real similar to those lines I was talking about. The problem, Queen E7, he just plays A3, and I don't know what I'm doing. A5. A5 makes sense. And they're really hammering. But what's the next move? I mean, what's the next move seriously here? They're A5, Queen A4. But actually, you know, come to think of it, D5 is pretty interesting. Not really threatening anything. Or am I? Not really. It may just be a good way to, like, complete my development, though. This A5 stuff feels very weakening. Obviously, I'd like to get castled at some point. I just play D takes C and like Queen D5, trading queens into an equal position. I feel like Smyslov or something. There's another line that's very similar to this. Of course, my position is slightly weakened by the move B6. What's up, guys? Please subscribe to my channel here on Twitch, International Master William Paschall. We are doing streams 6 days a week, usually without the construction sounds. Recapturing here is not an easy call. I think we've got 3 legitimate recaptures. Knight takes would gain back a little bit of time, perhaps. I mean, actually, knight takes. Bishop D2. Bishop takes F3. Bishop takes F3. Knight takes D4. Maybe this will equalize. I'm really not sure how I'm supposed to recapture here. It's a pretty weird position. I've never seen anything just like this. If he castles, I mean, I have several options. I could try to grab the pawn, or I can just take his bishop on E3, for example. Again, I'm like way behind on time. I mean, this is an interesting position. And Epitetos is like using no time. Macau. Are you really from Macau, Epitetos? Or are you just visiting? Or you just like the flag? White was forced to play this very artificial. He's not from Macau. He was forced to play this very artificial bishop e3. It's a temporary thing. Wow, king d2. That actually looks kind of dangerous for white. Now I have knight a5. Dude, knight a5. There's almost no way to defend. The c4 square. It's funny how these knights and bishops are coordinating with each other. Like there's a lot of coordination going on there. I mean, you got this dark square controlling the dark squares. This dark square bishop, the dark squares. The knight complements it here. The white square controlling the white squares. The knight complementing here, you know, on the dark squares. So it's kind of like how you do like a bishop and knight checkmate, which eludes a lot of people, the technique for checkmating with bishop versus knight. It's always kind of tricky for most people to figure that out. My pieces are just in his face. I mean, obviously this is a kind of dangerous move, king d2, leaving his king in the center, leaving his bishop misplaced on e3. I just don't think that he really has a good move here. I mean, you know, rook c1 doesn't work, I think. Yeah, it's like a disaster. Rook c1, he's almost getting mated. So guys, Sunday night, 6:30 or 7 p.m. Central European time. We'll just call it European time. Continental time. We'll call it continental breakfast. Rook c1, my other brother. Either way, it looks like he's in trouble. I mean, king d1 walks into like a nasty check and takes on d2. Ooh, this is just horrendous for white. King e1 obviously doesn't get out of the pin. So he never was able to really free himself out of the gate. But if I take on e3 here, he might be able to unpin himself secretly. This is a pretty neat way to get out of this, actually. Knight takes b2, bishop d2. You know, so I'm gonna go with this. I'm about to lose on time, so unfortunately I did not find a better solution. I don't know if this is a solution at all. I may have like just plain messed this up. Alright. Complicated. Total chaos. I screwed this up. Instead of bishop takes c3, obviously I have a lot of moves like knight g4 check maybe. Got myself in too bad of time pressure. Now white's probably just better here. Oh my god. No, you don't have to recapture. Just play king takes e3, Epitetos. And you're probably like winning there. I'm very, very lucky. I think he was distracted by the time pressure. So we're... Wow, get that out of there. We're up a pawn after everything's said and done. I think I was losing after king takes e3. Maybe a4, a5 in that last moment right there. would have given you a chance to play a5 quickly. Now it's just lost. But for a moment he was winning, I'm pretty sure. Oh, he's actually in the USA. I forgot about that. The Greek name throws me off. Alright, guys, interesting game. Obviously looks dubious for white out of the gate, but I'm curious. My Andrew Tang. The guy Andrew Tang was 2,300 in 2015. Alright, Chernyshov 2556, my nemesis. I probably played in that tournament with Karsten Volke and Chernyshov in 2004. You know, I might have even been sitting next to that game. Actually, no, I saw a different game. Matthias Roeder. But, alright, bishop e4. Here Chernyshov played something else. What did Chernyshov do? He lost. Yeah, this is just good for black. Bishop e3 is the best move. d5, bishop g2. And a5 now didn't occur to me. Played the best. Queen a6 did occur to me. That's an interesting move. It looks crazy to do that. Looks like I played correctly. Now, not king d2. That's mental. So if you play rook c1, you're probably okay. King d2 is crazy. Knight a5, rook c1, knight c4 check. And here I just sort of went into meltdown. I didn't know what to do here. I don't think this is the best. I wanted to play knight takes b2, but then I suddenly realized how good this move is. This move, suddenly, I'm worried about losing all, you know, along the c file, my pawn on c7. I was very concerned about that. But apparently I could play like bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, knight a4. It's kind of awkward for black, though. That's one option. The other option was apparently knight takes c3. It looks like I win the exchange. I missed this. Although, it's not that simple. Rook d1, bishop b2. I've got to watch rook b1. Watch this rook on a8. Bishop takes b1, rook takes b1. Bishop takes c3 check. King d1. It looks like I'm winning. Still, it's a little bit precarious, but it should be winning for black. So, I let you out of it completely. It looks like here, king takes e3. Now, to be frank, I thought I was worse here. After bishop takes b2, king takes e4. But apparently, I'm not worse. It's like equal. Rook c8, or bishop takes a1, if you like. I thought with the two minor pieces, white might actually be better in this position, but the engine doesn't think so. Normally, you know, the two pieces are pretty dangerous. I don't know. I mean, I was concerned, you know, that I would be worse. But I guess I've got two pawns. It's not that easy for him to use his king, really, in this position. It looks good, but, you know, it's also in the way of these other pieces and stuff, so... Now, this would have been the best he could do, probably. And I think, you know, I let him off the hook, basically. I could have done much better there. So, barring any other subscribers, we've got Haggard, DK, Pushed Pawn, Chess, Armageddon, Trouts. We're going to continue to play you guys. Subscribers have been hiding the last two streams. Trouts. We've only played Trouts once. He beat me. This was a 7-3 game. I forgot about that. Wow. I dropped my queen. I think it was toward the end of a stream, and I've got to think up some excuse. No, I was simply dropped my queen. E4. What can we do? What do you want to do with Trouts? Caro Khan. I haven't played many Caro Khans lately. Yesterday I had a game with Don't Do It Again, or what's his name? Please Don't Do It. I don't know. Don't Do It, we'll just call him. And this guy played an 8 centipede loss against me with no mistakes, no inaccuracies, and no blunders. Our last game of the stream yesterday when my computer crashed. Caro Khan, though, it just for some reason I want to play this opening, but it just never really. I had a guy cheat against me in a blitz tournament the other day on lichess. He got his account labeled. He was like winning every single game in a blitz tournament. People that do that are so stupid. Don't Do It Again, yeah. So Don't Do It Again, I'm not talking about him. This was just every time I play the Caro Khan, something bad happens. Like, I always lose. I want to play the Caro Khan, but it just doesn't like me. So I keep reverting to the Sicilian. Maybe it's just not active enough. I don't know. I think the Caro Khan is good up to a level for me, but once I start playing really strong players, I just feel like I'm suffering. Now Trouts played the Panov, which the Panov is E takes D, C takes D, C4, which I play myself. You know, if you play against the French defense or the Caro Khan, and you like open positions, you know, the thing is, against the French and the Caro Khan, it's kind of hard to get an open game. So, you know, Michael Soul says, I like playing knight c3, g4 line against the Caro. The thing is, you have to have a kind of affinity for closed positions. Even if you have more space, sometimes certain players don't really feel comfortable in like ultra closed positions. So if you want to play an open game against the Caro Khan, that's why people choose the Panov. But I don't think that theoretically this exchange on d5, it's, you know, technically a slight strategic mistake. But of course it's still a mainstream opening. Anyways, bishop g4 is a draw, basically. It's been pretty worked out. You know, we'll save that for the grandmasters that I play. I really want to try to win, you know, against somebody who's lower rated. And we might as well get a complicated game. Do you ever play the Larson variation? Yes. And I play knight d7. I've never had success with it. And I've played g takes f, and I've never had good success with it. That's why I kind of gave up playing the Caro Khan. I mean, the bishop f5 variations are like just so much theory, it's ridiculous. Every variation is like 30 moves of theory, and the other lines seem inferior. Probably the best is e takes f, you know, the Alekhine variation. I don't know, they call it, I don't know what they call it in the books, but you know, the recapture e takes f, knight f6 and e takes f, objectively is pretty solid for black. But it was always kind of insipid, so I never really wanted to play that. But whatever you play, you have to know it really well. I guess that's the most important thing. But g6, ironically, I've worked on a lot in the past year. Yeah, this move doesn't do it for me. Now, it appears white is threatening knight to b5. But I think at the end of the day, you know, if I play bishop g7, knight b5, castles, it's kind of a bluff. That would be at best a rep draw. But I've looked at this position before, I swear. Bishop g7, knight b5, castles, knight c7, e5, I think, is good for black. Alright. This is really not a normal move for white, but probably being white, you know, having an extra tempo, he can pretty much play whatever he wants. Once I lost to Alexander Ivanov in this sort of position with white 25 years ago, I was like 2100 and had to play Ivanov, and I put the bishop on f4, and it just, not by this move order. It wasn't a proper Caro-Kann move order. It was some kind of other move order, but the bishop doesn't really fit in on this square. How to say, you know, it's playable, but it's actually a mirror image of my earlier game where I was white and Clash Kid played bishop f5, and kind of a mirror image of that. Of course, the pawns are off the board. Today are tie breaks of the second match round of the World Cup. It's not really gotten too exciting yet. We're still in the early stages of the World Cup tournament in Tbilisi. Was the cheater Sexpert? No, I don't know about Sexpert. I mean, he's a big mystery. No, this was some guy, like, he was 1700, and he, like, you know, was clearly using a computer in some, you know, weekly blitz tournament, or he was just beating on everyone for like 10 games in a row, you know. And then he was even like talking smack after, like, you know, my game with him, and I knew that it was a computer because, like, at one point he just kept playing like the best move, even when it was like rubbing salt in the wound. If he was smart, he would, you know, stop making the computer moves at some point once he had a winning position. But he did this one move, like rook h3, that was so strong that I was just like, that's absurd, you know, like, obviously it's a computer. It played a Shirovian, like rook h3, which was coincidentally like Stockfish's #1 suggestion. But I feel sorry for the lichess administrators who have to keep track of all these people, because like every time they have a tournament, they're, you know, they've got to really police it, and usually there are several, you know, accounts that are likely cheating at any given time. So please be patient with the lichess administrators. I mean, they really have to just constantly keep these people in check, and literally. It's hard, you know. I mean, Thibault would be like here all day, like banning accounts if he was on top of it 24/7. So now Trout's played this. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, he just loses a flat-out tempo with like bishop g5. But that's the nature of being white, you know. It doesn't seem that bad, even though he's like just flat-out lost the tempo. He's got his pieces to better squares. I mean, this is definitely a better square than f4. There's no question. You know, funny, like looking at this position, I don't think that white's that bad here. I want to make bishop g4 work somehow. The problem with bishop g4, bishop e2, and then what do? I'm not trying to rhyme. I mean, I'm very sincerely wondering this question. I could do something funky like bishop g4, bishop e2, take, knight b4. It's so interesting. I mean, there's also the routine type of plan like b6. It feels slow here. This is more efficient. I'm not making any pawn weaknesses. I'm getting developed as fast as I can. Wow, that is a long comment. How does it feel to lose to a 12-year-old? I didn't notice that. I don't know if that was a comment or not. I don't remember that one. There was one person who was posing, or, you know, was really a like 10-year-old girl last week, but, you know, that wasn't the same situation. I don't know. It could have been the 12-year-old. How does it feel to lose to a computer? Tactical Wizard. The format is 6 knockout rounds. Yeah, this is the tournament we're talking about. Now the question is very important, what I play now. Knight takes d4. doesn't quite work. Queen a5 is interesting. I don't think that does anything. Queen a5 castles. There's some possibilities, but his queen's protected all the time on d2. My original intention was knight b4 here. Now I'm shying away from this suddenly. Or maybe bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3. No tactics for me. Bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, knight b4. This seems like it was kind of a dumb idea to begin with. It doesn't seem right. He has two moves there, knight, excuse me, d5 or a3. All right. I guess I just have to take on c3 and play like knight a5. Or we could always develop a piece. That probably doesn't hurt, huh? Why don't we develop a piece? And there's nothing fancy going on. But Trout's played this pretty well, considering he played bishop f4 and lost the move. I didn't see anything clear for black. Perhaps I missed something. Wouldn't surprise me. But it just goes to show the power of having that extra tempo. You know, you lose your extra tempo, it's still okay for white. People in general are too afraid of, in my opinion, they're too afraid of playing isolated queen pawn positions. Isolated queen pawn positions can be good for you. It's not something you should be like afraid to play. Okay, now it's time to start to think about knight takes c3, b takes c3, knight a5, kind of classical situation here. Reversed Tarrasch. Other options include knight b6. Pressuring d4. If I play knight b6, my e7 pawn is always a liability. d5, bishop takes c3 is always kind of weird. Though still that's a pawn. Knight b6, rook d1. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, pretty much whatever I do here, there's going to be some kind of counterplay. I'm just going to go with the traditional hanging pawns approach. This could easily be like a transposition to some kind of straight up Tarrasch with colors reversed. Oh man, I think I just blundered. God. Alright. I can't play this move. I mean, I'm just losing on e7. It's ridiculous. I'm so sorry. What a disaster that was. Trout showing amazing understanding, though, strategically. He just missed an easy tactical win. Bishop takes c4 and bishop takes e7. I like the way he's playing positionally, you know. I'm not even sure if I should make that move. But I do need to protect. He who hesitates is lost. He still has bishop takes c4. Still not giving up. It was a disaster, Trouts. I just gave you my e7 pawn with knight c4, my god. You're just winning immediately. I have to be careful here. I have to play like bishop back to e6 or f6 or something. And it's a totally normal position. I just blundered with knight c4. And now I'm okay again. After bishop e6. It's a standard position again, but this is crazy just to hang that. I did not even think about it. So I'm curious about the opening though in this position. Rook c8 was good. What should I do here? Yeah, knight b6, which I was talking about, but I didn't see anything convincing. Like here, here, and I mean I could take on f3 and take on d4 and give up the b7 pawn. But it's not that big a deal. I mean, bishop takes, knight takes d4, bishop takes b7, rook c7, I guess, or even knight c4. I was just afraid that I liquidate and I don't have enough or something. You know, probably it's like equal. Truthfully, I mean, I've just traded off your weak pawn in the center. I mean, it's not that weak actually. So, all right, silly blunder. Got to pay more attention to the tactics. Is the Chinese girl still in the tournament? Hu Yi Fan? I didn't check. Chess Armageddon. Zen Chess. Zen Chess is... Zen Chess, aren't you a subscriber? I haven't seen Zen Chess in the comments section. He was a subscriber, I thought. We have to confirm if Zen Chess is still a subscriber. It's understandable. I mean, I think, you know, with me moving to Europe, my stream was down for like a week, so I understand if you guys from North America, you know, had your subscription pop up and didn't renew. You know, you kind of get cheated out of a week. Well, not just the North American guys, but everybody for that matter. But I'm going to be here, and if you guys want to subscribe, I'm streaming like 6 days a week. D4. I was saying I was playing too much knight f3. I played it anyway, but we've transposed to a queen pawn game. I think I'll play one more e4 for sure. Now Chess Armageddon. I hope you weren't somebody who beat me in the Botvinnik variation. I lost a bad game in my simul last week in a Botvinnik variation. I think it was my simul, where this guy just knew the theory really, really deeply. The line that I play isn't that common, and you know, it's not that often I come across someone who knows the theory extremely well. Honestly, you know, if anybody here plays the semi-Slav, I think h6 is a bigger problem for white than you know, the classical kind of like d takes c lines. This move poses a lot of practical problems for white. I've had a difficult time against that. You don't know the theory. Okay, well, I mean, you're transposing to a slightly inferior Queen's Gambit declined, but I mean, okay, plenty of like grandmasters have even gone with this. It's not really great for black, but it's playable. Once I beat Hungarian master Gyula Izsák, who's practically a GM, he was almost 2,500. Save monies. Save monies. Yes, we all need to save monies. I understand. So basically, in these Queen's Gambit Orthodox variations, typically black is like taking on c4 and then playing c5. But, you know, if he plays c6 and then c5, he kind of loses half a tempo. So that's why it's not that popular to play this line for black with c6 and before c6 before knight bd7, h6, bishop h4. But this is a known variation. You know, some decent players have played this for black. It's not that bad if you know what you're doing. I think d takes c4, bishop takes c4, b5, bishop d3, a6, a4, and then like b takes a was discussed, I saw somewhere. White has a small advantage probably. But in general, there are many problems in the Queen's Gambit for white trying to find an advantage. But this isn't really one of the variations that I'm worried about. The Tartikover system is a problem. The Lasker variation is a problem. You know, maybe the straight up orthodox variation. And there's even other stuff like there's lots of ways to play the black side of the Queen's Gambit that are decent. The Cambridge Springs. I guess that most players are playing more like bishop f4 with white. That's very trendy. The exchange variation is very trendy and always will be. Yeah, Chess Armageddon is finally getting around to playing the recommended line. Zenchess subscribed. Awesome, Zenchess. Thank you. We always play with subscribers first if we have the option. And I try to do a subscriber stream once a week. And probably, you know, in the future we're going to make some videos to benefit the subscribers for my YouTube channel. Video chess training on YouTube. I upload all my streams there as well. Now this move is really weird. I have never seen anybody do that. Because typically, yes, you're moving the same piece twice, but the bigger problem here, I think, is that this knight is typically defending a lot of key points like e5, c5, and f6. Those three squares. So that's this knight here on d7. You know, the placement of the knight on b6 isn't so bad, but you know, it's the squares that it was protecting from d7 that becomes the issue, I would think. Playing c5 is black's kind of like main hope to free themselves in the Queen's Gambit, and he's going to have a difficult time doing that with moving the knight away from d7. Now we have lots of options. I don't want to be too fancy here. He did discourage a4. I was talking about a4 maybe. He's like anti-a4 with knight b6, but I don't really need to play it now. But I would like to complete my development. We'll typically like play rook d1. I just, you know, hope that I can keep control of c5. That's my main idea. Typically when I face b4, we'll either play this or we'll exchange on f6 followed by that move. In this case, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6. Let's see, bishop takes f6, pawn takes c3, bishop takes e7. That wins a pawn. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight e4. With the idea of knight c5. Should be pretty good. The other way, knight e4, knight takes e4. It doesn't seem to benefit me in any particular way. And I think this is a little simpler. I'm not really sure about my move queen e2, you know, if it was necessary to do that, but it does, obviously. I'm saying obviously too much. Please slap me if I do that again. This move, you know, making way for the rook to double the rooks or go to d1. It's a standard move, but I don't want to play too routinely. I mean, this is a big issue in chess in general. People just going with the routine. You need to be more creative in a lot of instances. So this is no exception. Well, we've got the c5 square. That's the main point. And we've got the e5 square. Those locales are pretty much clamped down on. So If black can't free himself, this bishop... I could see Capablanca honestly playing something like bishop a6 in this position. I mean, it's ironic to play that move, but, you know, there would be some justification. But maybe better moves exist in around here. Knight e5 is interesting. There's some thought as to whether I'd rather have the other rook on c1 here. Let's see. Bishop a6 is not such a stupid idea. Bishop a6, queen c8, and then like take, and he kind of mobilizes a little bit. Still, it would be good for me. It's not clear if it's enough or not. I was thinking knight e5, but there was something about that that bothered me. Knight e5, queen d5, very strange move, but annoyingly attacking my a2 pawn. And knight d5, knight c5, takes, I lose my a2 pawn for nothing. Alright. It's a bad piece, but it's also a great defender. So there's justification for this. Ironic, paradoxical, that's the word. Paradoxical move, bishop a6. There's another principal reason for the move bishop a6. When you face the bishop pair, generally speaking, it's a good idea to eliminate one of them, so that you're playing with like two knights against bishop and knight, rather than playing against a potentially powerful bishop pair. Our queen defends the a2 pawn. That's the point. You know, this guy is protected. So one major issue is resolved. And now we just play just. We find a good move. How about that? Knight c5 looks good enough to me. Maybe he has some murky kind of counterplay here. I don't see it though. There's no knight c4. We've got another knight with a strong support point on e5. This is called the Pillsbury Bind, after Harry Nelson Pillsbury, who was probably the greatest player ever from the Boston area in the last century. He won Hastings, then died very early, probably like syphilis or something. F5. Seeking play. Let's complete the development. And I was thinking about this. Maybe I should have pulled the trigger on that move. I don't know. Thought we'll get a little more development in. We can also bring this guy back to d3, where it secures f4, secures e5. Bring our rook to bear down. Okay, now g5, he's really weakening his king side. If f4, e4, I also have this coming back at some point, this move as well. Massive pressure on the black position here. It looks like he almost has to lose some kind of material. I mean, these pawns are hard to keep protected. Guys, I'm going to be streaming for like another 25 minutes. Now, it feels like there should be something here, some kind of tactic. Knight b7. Nothing there directly, but I have crazy stuff. Knight b7 followed by knight a5. Knight b7, knight a5. Queen b7. I just mentioned this move. Oh my god, he's threatening bishop takes c5. He's threatening bishop takes c5. The horror. The horror. Joseph Conrad. It's yeah, I thought I missed it. I did miss it, but there's a problem with that. Yeah. There are bigger problems in your camp. Bishop takes c5 is made in 2. So it's pretty hard. He defended the best he could. Maybe I simply take with the queen here. Just to keep it simple. That's a powerful queen on d5, you have to admit. You know, it's not something I like, living with a queen like that. Now bishop takes c5, rook takes c5. His b4 pawn is hanging as well. Now he managed to defend everything with that move. But we don't want him to take over the c file. We're just up a pawn, and his king is really weak. Well, I shouldn't pick on his king, but I'm trying to say that the main point is that his king is opened up. Probably not that big a deal. Actually, he could put the king on g7. So that in and of itself is not really devastating. I think it's safe to pre-move there. He's not planning on losing on time, apparently. Just keeps teasing me by getting really low, then makes a move with like seconds left. This could get kind of tedious. Kind of awkward for me. Knight c4 maybe? I don't really want him going to b2, but he has that. Yeah, you missed rook b2 check there, which was really pretty disturbing. Apparently he's a really good bullet player. I don't know. Not so high rated in bullet, actually. He's got great time management skills. Got to be careful here. Could mess this up. Possibly I already did. Yeah, it looks that way. Looks like I messed this up. I've actually screwed this up. Rook c3, knight a2 is a draw. He didn't play the check. I'm very fortunate. I think it was a draw, probably. I mean, it's still hard to win, but at least now I have a chance. Oh my god, my rook's under attack. It's like relentless. This game could go on forever. He always like moves when he's down to exactly like 1 second. Now it's important that I have rook b6, but I don't have rook b6. Yeah, he never loses on time. Whoa. What a game. He lost on time here. I mean, I think it's probably a draw after this move. I didn't expect Chess Armageddon to lose on time. He'd been going so long without losing on time. No, apparently it's a draw. I thought 94 would be enough. But that has a problem. Apparently that has some kind of technical problem. I mean, I gotta believe that's a draw, though. I mean, even this. I mean, I can't believe I'm winning this position. This has to be a draw. This is a dead draw. Yeah, so Chess Armageddon kind of froze there. I mean, who knows? It's a night ending, but it's gotta be a draw, man. He lost on time at the end. That's weird. Alright, so Zen Chess resubscribed, man. Thank you for that. Played more than 10 games today on lichess and won almost all of them. Am I a hero? I got in trouble for playing too many low-rated players. I lost my... What is it called? My rating deviation went too high. Every time I would enter these like little tournaments and play just a few games and never really play anyone strong, and I just kept playing like people who were 700 points lower than me, and it made my rating deviation go up. Yes, it's fun to beat a lot of lower rated players, but alright, Zen Chess, this is a solid setup to King's Indian attack against the Caro Khan. I think the recommended line for black is to basically play like a fianchetto type of thing. I played e5 right away though, which should still be okay for black. I mean, I don't see anything really wrong with it. And I don't like this Queen c7 move all that much, to be honest. God, it's been years since I played this position. Interesting choice. You don't see this too often when you play the Caro-Kann. I'm not seeing too many people playing knight d2. I should probably play g6 first, and bishop g7, and then e5 later. I don't know if there's any way white can take advantage of this, you know, early queen move, having to defend the pawn kind of awkwardly with the queen. I mean, obviously I can play bishop d6. In fact, I might have to. But here, yeah, he's trying to take advantage. Maybe he'll be successful. Queen e2. Interesting. I mean, if I have to play f6, my position's a little weird. Bishop d6 allows like pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight takes e5 with some kind of edge for white, I would imagine. That doesn't leave us with too many options. Feels like I've walked into a tricky situation here, right? For lack of a better move. I would have played knight d7 if I had known you were going to force me to do it, rather than putting my queen here. Yeah, last game I really... When did I let it get out of control? Well, I mean, he basically defended really well. I mean, the whole idea of beginning with like a4, a5, a3, a4, and then pushing those queenside pawns down to go to the ending where he has like a secondary file. Because I controlled the only open line, the C file. And my last opponent, Chess Armageddon, you know, he basically went out of his way to find a way to push the pawns down so that he would get a secondary file. And he actually missed rook b2 check, which would have been probably potentially devastating, borrowing a term from the Hurricane Irma. Potentially devastating move for white. But it was instructive defense by Chess Armageddon, you know. If he plays passively, he's going to lose for sure. But he finds a way to play actively, and then that endgame with rook and knight, you know, and 5 pawns, and rook and knight and 4 pawns, I mean, that's really hard for me to win, you know, so probably him losing on time was my best chance. He had gone so long not losing, you know, but it looks like, guys, we're going to have time for one more game after this. King Chaser usually shows up late. Those 8-3 games are not going to happen today. I'm going to play Haggard DK with a 6+3. And Zenchess just said, oh man, I've got nothing better than G3. My fear is that he'd have something immediate, you know, opening the file here. Now I think the position, it basically transposes to, I don't know what to call it, you know, basically like a C3 against the King's Indian, against the modern or King's Indian. It's a pretty solid formation, pretty similar to the like Tory attack, except my bishop's not out on G4. It shouldn't really be much worse than that, though. You know, unless he can do D4, which looks a little artificial, then black should be fine. Chess Armageddon. No, they thought it was you, Chess Armageddon. I don't know why, because you said your answer to something. You commented maybe at the same time when we were asking a question about the other player. No, I didn't assume it was you. Maybe one of the other viewers did, but it could be you. But I didn't think that myself. You know, probably I wouldn't mind exchanging on e4, going in one of these symmetrical structures. He can take with the knight, though, for whatever that's worth. Usually nothing special. I don't think it really matters where I put my bishop, honestly. I mean, it could matter if I put it on c5 and he has some kind of trick with d4, obviously. But as far as like bishop d6, yeah, I mean, maybe we should put it on d6 here. I can also exchange. If I exchange, I give him, I feel like I give him more options. There is knight h4 though. I'm not going to be able to avoid knight h4. That's the argument for like pawn takes pawn here. If I play bishop d6, he can play knight h4. Maybe I can play knight to c5, but again, there's some problems there. Bishop e7, on the other hand, knight h4 again. I can play g6, but it's radically weakening my king side, although probably I should. Bishop d6, knight h4, g6, and just live with it. Alright. That's what we'll do. We'll play g6, I guess. It's not that bad, because ultimately I'm going to castle, play rook e8, and then bring my bishop back to f8. It will protect my king side. He can castle or play knight h4 here. So, knight h4, g6, followed by... Okay, he didn't do it. Well, now it's probably too late. I mean, he can still do knight h4, but I don't have to play g6 now. I could let him play knight f5 and go bishop f8, possibly, with the idea of not weakening my king side and putting the bishop on f8 and maybe trading the f5 knight off with a bishop. Guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and you can also donate via PayPal. We don't get enough donations, and I need the support to keep the YouTube channel going, keep the stream going. So please feel free, if you can afford it, donate, or else subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact me, videochesstrainer@gmail.com. Any suggestions as well? I'm looking for new ideas to employ as far as like content and ideas for the show. So we have a probable new concept of starting a viewer tournament once a week. I did it on Tuesday this past week, and I think that everybody liked it. I need a lawyer. I wish I had a little experience in that field, but unfortunately you're going to have to find someone else. Rook e8. The standard King's Indian attack. You know, in the typical what's it called, Tory attack, this bishop's out on g4. Now I don't have to play bishop f8 like I was talking about. I could play g6. I like g6. I mean, maybe it's probably a necessary evil here. If I didn't have a bishop that can go back and defend my king side, I would think that's not a good idea, but yeah, I don't really want this guy visiting me on f5. This is a luxury we can afford. I think he should have played knight h4 earlier. You know, typically many players will exchange here sort of routinely on e4, but you know, on a kind of philosophical level, you know, I don't like to make that move. It may be necessary ultimately, you know, if white gets control of d5. Like here he's threatening more pressure on d5. So the case may be that I'm going to eventually have to give in, you know. But at least here, we need to get some play. Knight c5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Knight e3, you know, and my center starts to fall apart. This is like lowest maintenance move. It's not too ambitious, but I'm having trouble, you know, he's opening up a lot of pressure on d5. We can grab space on the queen side with like a5 at some point. b5 possibly. Maybe b5 is better than a5 actually. There's also the question of securing, you know, securing the d4 square. I'd love to get a knight to d4. This also puts pressure on his center a little bit. But basically black plays for the dark squares here. My bishop on d6 is going to move again. Looks like bishop e7 is fine. This doesn't have to stay. I mean, I never intended for my bishop to stay on that square on d6. It's a pretty crappy square in general. That was just the best of the lot back when I decided to develop it on move 5 or whatever. You don't really want your bishop on d6 where it's blocked by your, you know, your own pawn on e5. I think bishop g5 may in fact be okay, but you know, he doesn't really want to trade the dark squared bishop, so he has to think twice about that. Is that really a good move? I have an interesting continuation here. Queen f3, knight e6, and if bishop takes f6, knight d4. You got to look for little tactics sometimes to make like positional ideas work. Well, I mean, objectively this looks about equal, but white's not, you know, it's not clear where white's going here. Again, grabbing space on the queen side is appealing. He's got the d file, but there's no entry point. You know, that file is often kind of a moot point. b5, we can play b5, more space for me. Perhaps first, just here. There are many plans. I mean, this rook move was probably kind of a good idea. I like bishop c1 here. Maybe that's better. Exchanging these pieces is usually a good idea for black. Maybe I shouldn't pass on the chance to do this. I wasn't sure if he could also take with the queen in that position. Okay, there's nothing special really going on here. This move is a temporary idea. He doesn't care. I mean, I guess, yeah, that move is what I've been thinking about, but we can just play queen e7, can't we? I don't know. Better to play this, probably. Again, tactical idea. I mean, I don't know that I'm better. It's kind of a tricky ending. But I don't think I'm worse. You know, we can go from here. And that's kind of disturbing. Knight d7 appears okay. I don't like playing knight takes e4, knight takes e5. Seems better for white. Looks like white has the upper hand now. Alright, let's keep an eye on that e4 pawn. Indirectly. f6, king f8. Bring our king to the center. Basically a bluff. That's what I thought you said. Alright. We're like microscopically better, I guess. I'm a little, I mean, I don't think I'm being objective. Probably it's just equal, actually. Let's see. Man, I don't know. Knight there. It's kind of risky to play b4. What's my other knight doing? We've got to do something, though. I mean, the advantage here for me is that his bishop is blocked by his own pawn. His bishop is tied down to that guy. So we can build up. This king move may be, you know, a serious mistake. But it looks like he may be holding on. Sort of difficult to see how I can make progress. It's probably going to take a mistake by white for me to win this. You could argue that's like a mistake. I don't know. But his bad bishop is probably good enough not to lose. Who knows, though? I said I was going to play one more game. We're kind of going over time here. I think this is a serious mistake. Though the position may be impossible for me to get in. That's definitely a serious mistake. I mean, Zen Chess needs to close that up. Perhaps I still can't win. I don't know. No, unfortunately, he has this stuff. I'm gonna lose a pawn now. This is classic. Knight g2. I'm actually losing now. This was actually a big mistake to play c5 there. I had knight e2. If he plays c4, he's probably winning. Really, both of us made a lot of mistakes here in the last moments. Damn, dude. He's got good endgame technique. How in the world did I drop another pawn? We're basically back to the same scenario where I just dropped my A pawn. It's kind of comical. I guess this is some sort of demented draw. This is probably like one of the worst endings I've ever played. Just riddled with mistakes for both sides. Sees everything. Seriously? That is just the most ridiculous ending I ever played, probably. I don't want to look at the analysis for both sides because I think we both played 100 mistakes. It's probably a record-setting like center pawn loss for this game. Anyway, I know that knight against bishop endgames are kind of difficult, but I do not want to know like what the respective center pawn loss was there for both sides. Not knight g2. If bishop f1, then knight e3 check. Haggard DK. Last game for today, guys. Whoever has the biggest center pawn loss wins. It must have been a nightmare. I mean, it must have been like, I've never seen, I don't think, can you have a 200 center pawn loss? Is that possible? What's the maximum, you know? I'm over time. I'm a little bit tired. You know, it's martini time for me after 2.5 hours, so I'm usually pretty fried by this point. Some people can stream for like 10 hours, but for me it's like 3-hour maximum. But it's the same with like analysis, basically. When I used to work with friends of mine, we would have like intense analysis sessions and stuff, and usually 3 hours. I would just kind of like, not only now because I'm like old, but just in general, even like 15 years ago, after 3 hours, that was it. You know, even in my prime. Yeah, whoever has the biggest center pawn loss wins. I agree. Okay, it's fair. What a terrible endgame we played. There were highlights. It was very exciting. It was kind of like the World Cup. Anyway, what Haggard DK is here, doing is basically kind of dubious. I mean, he's basically playing the King's Indian with e6 instead of e5. It shouldn't really be good. You do see similar stuff in the the so-called two knights tango. But in the two knights tango, like, you might have a variation where I've played the move a3, which is irrelevant. I don't want to play a3 with white on the white side of a classical King's Indian. I mean, this move is a useful move. Even rook b1 would be a useful move, but like a3 is a line of the two knights tango. I mean, that's not a constructive move for white. If anything, it's probably like a detrimental move for white, which like weakens some squares in the position on the queen side. So that's the idea in the two knights tango, i.e. d4, knight f6, c4, knight c6, knight f3, e6, a3, d6, knight c3, g6. Bologan has played this, for example. Okay, another weird move, like knight g4 here. I think h3 is a useful move for white. Not like a3, which is kind of lame. We're close. Yeah. The end game, I think we played 200 cent upon loss the last game. But like white was winning, and then white was drawing, and then white was winning, and then white was drawing, then white was losing, and then black was like barely drawing again. I think the evaluation must have changed like 7 times. The advantage must have changed hands. Or, the result, draw, win, or lose, must have gone back and forth like 6 times. Knight f6. I mean, anyway, okay, bishop f1 is a good move. This is a normal plan anyway. Do like bishop f1. I've got a useful plan and constructive one. To play g3, bishop g2 later on, maybe. It also secures my h3 pawn. These King's Indian types of positions. This is a good setup in all the classical King's Indians. I've been hesitant to play d5. I don't want to commit myself and overextend till I'm ready. At one point you were winning by 60.6. 7 accuracies, 4 mistakes, 5 inaccuracies, 4 mistakes, 4 blunders. That's good. I like the 4 blunders. That's probably like a record for me in a game. I mean, I don't think I ever made... I mean, there must be 1 or 2, but I don't remember it. 4 blunders. I usually am pretty blunder free. We'll occasionally have 1 blunder. Maybe a 2 blunder game, but a 4 blunder game? Okay, now Haggard DK is... He's going over the face of the cliff with this move. I think this is a seriously weakening move. But, we have lots of options. Should I play e5? The problem with e5, he just takes it, and when I take back, he trades queens, and then knight d7, and he's got 17 things attacking e5, so I can't do that. 60.6 was the knight b2 fork. I pick up a bishop. That would have made it a little easier. My problem was that I thought I was just winning the way I was doing it, I didn't think his king could creep back like that on the side, and I thought the 2 connectors would easily win. It's kind of an instructive endgame in that respect. Wonder if it's worth considering queen c1 here. I don't know. He should really get out of the pin anyway. Maybe interesting is like queen e8, knight d5. How often do you see like a Sicilian type of sacrifice in the King's Indian? That might even work. Queen e8, knight d5. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes with the e pawn. And actually he has 97 there, so it may not work. centralize the pieces. Yeah, now queen c1 is a good idea. Actually, I should probably, just pull the trigger on queen f4, to be honest here. Queen f4 could be, allowing e5 maybe is an issue. But with rook d1 in, this is a very serious threat. Black should never play h5 in this kind of position, but it's no going back. Maybe just break the pin now. Queen d7 or queen e8. Guys, we'll be back on Sunday with a simul stream, 6:30 or 7 p.m. CEST. Yeah, Zen chess. Weird game, man. Queen e8. Once again, like knight d5 is kind of funky, but I mean, I doubt it's the best move. It's like a lazy move. Just throw it in there and hope something happens. Queen a f4, e5, queen h4. But then what? He could play knight g8 now. Queen f4, knight g8 for that matter. Just straight up play it. Probably it's time to play e5. For better or for worse. This kills his bishop on c8. Secures a space advantage on the king side. I mean, he has to take knight d7 and then pressure e5. There could be some complications. It looks like it should just be overwhelming for me, though. Knight e4, knight takes e5, knight takes e5. Knight f6 check. Goodbye. Now this is a little bit different. Now knight e4. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight takes. Isn't so clear. He has like f6 just sort of hanging on. I mean, it looks awful for black, this position, but maybe he's, after f6, kind of surviving. I think bishop h6 is fatal. Fatally weakening the dark squares. You just go here and knight f6. You had to play f6 there while you have the chance. I mean, I could win material here, but I mean, it's kind of going on a tangent. I mean, I think we've got too many threats. Bishop h6 is a really bad move. This is probably not that bad. After f6, you're still alive. Bishop f6 takes, knight takes. My queen has to move again. Okay, it's a really bad position for black, but you're not losing immediately. This way looks like fatal. Knight f6 check. I mean, g4. Is he threatening this? Not really. This will make f6 virtually impossible. d5. It's kind of an irritating move. Why didn't I stop that in the first place? Okay. Knight f6 check. I feel like he's gotten away with something here a little bit. Like he shouldn't have survived this far. I mean, obviously black is dead, but he survived a little bit longer than I should have allowed him. Anyway, guys, thank you for the stream today. I'm going to sign out, and I'll see you on Sunday with a simul 6:30 or 7 p.m. on Sunday Central European time. Thank you for the games, guys. You have 2 wins and 2 draws against me. Our score is 3-16. The last have been pretty unproud of. Sorry about that, Zen Chess. We will see you guys. What's that? Oh, there's another World Cup, U.S. World Cup. I see. They made a competition tournament. Political stuff going on. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Take care, and thanks again. Thanks, Blue Crow, for being here. I didn't even see you there. Later, guys. Bye-bye.